All right, we're live. It's Wednesday evening. Time for another episode. Yeah, hey, the Nexus 10 finally it just did the reboot. So 4.4.4. Nice.
About time.
Nice.
Yeah, Ant's down there in the area, so we'll talk a lot about that, I'm sure. Anothertechshow.com. Check it out. That's the site. There's YATS TV. You can hang out in the chat room, ask questions, or discuss or what.
No, you meant that.
No, I was doing something else.
Yes. Now and then we'll ask Larry's wife about.
Mars, you're being teased.
No, we're not teasing.
You were on camera when you said that.
Don't tell fibs.
First they make fun of my dog, now my wife. What?
Oh man. Love it.
We're in trouble now.
Yes.
We'll get Larry's dog's take on Google I/O, Android wearables, and everything. Very exciting.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Wednesday, June 25th, 2014. This is episode 99 of YATS. Every week, Wednesday evening, right here, anothertechshow.com. Check it out. I'm Matt Lee. This guy right there, that's Ant Pruitt. What's up, Ant?
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Lee?
Good to have you. Larry Press joining us. What's up, Larry?
Hey guys, good to see you.
Mike Rothman joining us. What's up, Mike?
Always a pleasure to be here, gentlemen.
Nick Carroll joining us. What's up, Nick?
Hey, glad to be back, guys.
Good to have you back, as always. Another tech show. Check us out, Stitcher, iTunes, all that stuff. Ant Pruitt, what are you doing in a hotel room? Tell us. What's up?
I made the cross-country trip over to cold California, here in Northern California, in San Francisco, to attend a Google I/O extended event. I did not get the press pass like a lot of folks were unable to get as well. But there was a local I/O extended event being held by the glass explorers in the area. You know, it's pretty interesting stuff here.
Just like a local hangout, but like in real life at a pub or whatever?
No, they held it at a place called Wearable World, which focuses on wearables. And I tried to get some information and sit down with the owner of that company, so forth, and didn't really get any time, but we got business cards, and we're going to be in touch and spread a little more news about wearable technology. And the day was pretty big for that kind of stuff.
Did you see any smart watches on anybody's wrists today?
The only watches I saw were Pebbles. I didn't see any of the ones that were announced today. The LG or the Samsung, none of those were floating in my vicinity. I did go down to Moscone West and walked around a little while just to, see what it felt like down there, and I just saw glass everywhere.
The place was lousy with glass.
I mean, it was Google Glass everywhere, man. You would think those things cost about $20. It was so many of them,
I haven't seen anything more than you can see by watching some of the streaming services on the web or checking out The Verge or something. But that I was surprised to see that demonstration of the Samsung smartwatch, and it looks pretty darn good. Having the Google Now services and the voice dictation built into the watch really opens up some interesting possibilities.
And like I've said before, I'm still sort of lukewarm on it.
Yeah.
I could see you speaking commands into it. I don't see the whole Dick Tracy thing where you're holding it up and having conversations with it kind of thing, because you're going to speak into it and then hold it up to your ear. You look like more of a jerk now. But
I already look like a big enough jerk.
But it's just, I'm just lukewarm. The screen is small on watches, and I don't know about you, but I use Google Now pretty extensively and, rely on it on a day-to-day basis. And if I got to squint to see it, I'm just going to be pissed off and might as well just pull the mobile device out of my pocket.
Yeah, I see that point. My eyes are pretty bad. I don't know that I'd be able to, that is a real problem I hadn't thought about. I don't know that I'd be able to see that screen, let alone the little gray letters on the gray background that the image looked like that I saw streaming today.
Yeah, I mean, then Mike, you had to couple that with being outside in the sunshine. You
Yeah.
know, those screens, if they're bright enough, that's one thing. But if not, we got another
Yeah,
issue.
the screens are like an inch and a half diagonal, like 1.65 or so inches. So they are a little bit on the small side. I mean, they're standard for a watch, but I mean, we're used to seeing like a little analog,
Yeah.
minute an hour kind of deal, not necessarily reading a bunch of text. So yeah, usability will vary based on how good your eyes are for one thing. So.
What do you think about it, Nick, from a feasibility standpoint?
I haven't worn a watch in probably 2 decades, and I'm actually now considering wearing one because I still think these are pretty cool. My hours are still pretty decent, and I do like some of the aspects, like, oh, you can check, oh, I've got a 20-minute or 30-minute drive to work, or oh, someone's texting me. You don't have to pull out the phone. Or for me, a lot of times I'm around the house and the phone's somewhere, and I'm somewhere else, but I could still wear a watch and get that pretty much anywhere. So that's kind of nice.
Nice. Valid points. Valid points.
It all depends, and plus they're only like $200. I mean, for what they do, that's pretty decent. But a lot of people will spend near that, or maybe even more than that, on a watch if they use it for just looks or just to check one thing, the time. And these can do that and a lot more. So.
Yeah, and they actually look nice, especially
Yeah.
that Moto 360.
Yeah.
Is this still going to be in the $200 range, or is it going to be a little more?
It looks like it's going to be in the 350 range in terms of price, but it is a larger display plus a circular display, so it's got uniqueness there. It's literally the world's first circular smartwatch, so that has some value to it. So
Yeah, I think it'll be all right for the most part, but I just don't know if it's for me in particular.
yeah.
Now that these watches were the watches and Google TV were the only products announced today. Is that right?
That's correct, sir.
And the Google TV is delivered as a service bundled into a Sony, or what is it? Sony or Samsung?
It was Sony. There was some other name that I can't remember.
Vizio maybe, and a couple others.
But it's not a standalone box.
No, that's the thing that confused me, because if you watch that demonstration, he's going through and holding his mobile phone to manipulate whatever's on the screen. So you can either have a set-top box or it's integrated into the television, like what you have now with a smart TV. But right after that, he went to play a game, and he picked up a controller. He picked up a gaming controller that had a USB cord on it of some sort. Maybe it's not a USB, but some type of cord was on this thing. And you never did hear what that thing was connected to. Was it a set-top box? Was it going straight into the television or anything like that? It was just a random cord. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, well, what I saw some video afterwards of from a couple different outlets like Android Central or whatever that were showing you essentially saw a box in front of a TV, and I think that's essentially what it's supposed to be. I think ultimately Android TV will be a box, but I think they're trying to provide it as like an operating system that you would use on a smart TV. So I think it's probably both. But the controller itself, I think the reason why it was wired was with so much wireless interference going on with so many people in a nearby area. I think they pretty much have to wire everything up from on screen they would have like a smartphone, but they would, and they're trying to demonstrate what's on the smartphone, but they would have video out hook up in all of them. So.
Oh no, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind that it was wired. I can care less from a convenience standpoint. I was just saying, what the heck was it connected to?
Well, it was actually running it. Yeah, it could have been a PC for all we know that was running on that. So yeah.
I missed all of this. What does a Google TV do that my Chromecast doesn't do?
Well, the Google TV has transcoding is one of the biggest things that I could deal with on my current television. So I have the Chromecast, and I also have a Hisense Pulse and a Logitech Review. But for a while, I couldn't run Plex media server if I had a Chromecast. I had to have some other device that could handle all of the transcoding and so forth on the fly, as well as storing the content there locally.
Yeah, there's the Chromecast has a I don't know I can't remember how much storage space, but typically your Google TV or maybe your upcoming Android TV will have a little bit more storage space for large media that's actually stored on there and played there. So like if you're going to stream something to it, there's essentially a larger disk buffer for all that video content to download to, and then you can play it at will. And in theory, cache subsequent videos if you're going to watch something else after that, if you're binge watching something on like House of Cards or something, for example. So
yeah, you remember when the Chromecast came out last year? Well, I don't know if you remember or not, but I remember saying, I don't know if the Chromecast has a value to someone like me because I have the Google TV, you know.
yeah.
And my original plan was to buy a Chromecast and just play with it for a week or so, and then I was just going to gift it to somebody, you know, give it to a reader or something or a listener. But I still have it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get rid of it. I found a use for it, and it's just a tad bit simpler than my Google TV for this standpoint, and it's for my music. When I want to pull up my Google Play Music on my phone, sometimes, especially like if I'm cooking or whatever, I want to play music, and I can just pull it up on the phone, change the input on my television from my phone because my phone has a Google TV remote app already on it, change the input from HDMI 1 to HDMI 2, hit the Chromecast button on Google Play Music, and then I got my music coming over my home theater and sounds much better than coming out of my smartphone speakers.
And it's really simple.
Yeah, it's not hard. It takes about 30 seconds, if that, to do it. That's one good use that I get out of the Chromecast. I don't use it for much else, though. But now,
I guess I don't like the basic idea of having things bundled inside of TV sets.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Yeah, because how do you upgrade basically when you invest in this big old TV? You know, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's these smart TVs that are out there, the Samsung ones, they have been getting pretty decent run. I know a few people that have them, and they freaking love them. But I look at it with trepidation. You know, just if one thing goes wrong, you're pretty much out of a TV more than likely because it's all on that same motherboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I've been experimenting with different things like Chromecast, and I've got a Roku 3. You know, I've got different rooms where I've got different, you know, devices like this connected. You know, I've got a pretty decent Blu-ray player that has a bunch of its own smart apps built in, connected to another TV. So yeah, it's kind of nice having these kind of things. And a year from now, there may be a new improved Chromecast you could put on either the same TV or a new TV, or you know, so a Roku 4 or something else. So yeah.
I wouldn't discount that. Sorry, Larry, go ahead.
Well, I'm in the same boat. And how often do you buy a new TV set?
Yeah, not very often.
That every 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And like you get a Roku, you get a new Roku, you get a Chromecast. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think about just Android in general and what they showed today with the L platform?
That looks pretty cool. It's like Holo is going away as far as the UI is concerned, and it's going to be replaced by Material, I guess is what they would call it. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But it's more of a, you know, the industry has been kind of going towards a more flat UI. You know, like you have the Live Tiles with Microsoft is pretty flat. You know, iOS has been getting fairly flat, and iOS with Holo was kind of this flat UI, and now it seems like we're rebounding and going the other direction. So we're seeing like a 3D style interface where there's different layers or levels. So that's kind of cool.
You know, I remember looking at one part of it, and they talked about having the white background on the majority of their apps. And to a degree, I'm okay with that. It seems to work well on Gmail. It seems to work well on Google+. But I don't know if it will work for everything. I'm hoping, you know, the developers will still have some flexibility to give you a darker background here and there, because for my eyes, sometimes a darker background gives you a much better contrast ratio, making things look a little bit clearer.
Plus, if it's at night and you want to view, like say you're going to bed and you want to read your email before you go to bed, if it's bright white, it's the brightest thing in the room, so that can be distracting. So, but I think the distinction with material is like you can have one layer, the background, and then you can have a layer above that, and then something else above that. So that's kind of cool. So you could theoretically just have a red background. So
I sort of laughed to myself when they started talking about the different animations that they're going to offer. The first thing that come to my mind was Samsung and that TouchWiz stuff with all of their little cutesy animations. And I was like, please don't let it happen that way.
Hope we don't quite go that far in terms of animations and stuff. But it looks like they're trying to modernize it in a different way. So they're going in a slightly different direction here. So
I guess I'm sort of disappointed with that. I mean, I don't know that this was a major part of today's overall set of announcements, but I find it hard to believe that we're all that wrapped up in the design of what the UI set looks like instead of the functions and the services that it delivers.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta have the functionality.
I'm much more interested. I mean, just for example, I was hoping for some clarity today about what's happening with Google Voice and the integration of Google Voice into messages.
Yeah.
And unless I missed something, it didn't come up today. And now I'm left really wondering, all right, what is their strategy? Do they have a strategy? Is it, I mean, they've sort of done a halfway integration of the products already. Are they going to continue it? What's the story?
I'm with you on that. Fortunately, Google Voice still works.
Oh yeah.
Because man, I depend on that. But another thing they didn't mention was Google Plus.
Yeah.
Not one word about it. Mr. Gendotra is gone. They put in Mr. Debris, I believe that's his last name. He's in there, but I haven't heard a peep out of him. I've been following him online just to see, if he's mentioning anything about the direction of Google Plus or any other features and innovations coming in. I haven't seen anything from him. The one thing that I did see was an updated feature to the photo editing piece inside of Google Plus, but that was really just one little piece that was found. There was nothing that says this thing is going to stick around long term. Everybody's already calling Google Plus a graveyard. And by not having Gendotra in place, by not having someone that's going to continue to be a cheerleader or a mouthpiece for this product, I mean, it really bodes to be a little gloomy.
Yeah, I mean, as someone that uses it a lot, like Google Plus, for example, it kind of worries me, all this talk. I even did a little video on my little channel about, is Google Plus dead? I was looking at the TechCrunch article that was talking about how with Gendotra leaving, what's the state of Google Plus? And I personally don't think it's dying, but it would be nice to see more support from Google in this. I mean, last I/O, there was all about Google Plus and all the integration from it, and this I/O, it's not even mentioned once, and that's usually not a good sign.
But you remember that the last time social was part of their corporate bonus structure. However they did as a company on social, it reflected how much money extra that they got. So yeah, you sort of expected to see a lot more ads and stuff about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're pulling out. I don't know.
Now,
go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Yeah. The one question: the I/O runs through tomorrow, does it not?
Yes.
So,
they have more classes tomorrow.
Classes, but no keynote tomorrow.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, maybe some more will come out of these classes. But boy, I felt like that, and I was also hoping to see an announcement of new Nexus-style tablets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were the two things that I was really keyed up to hear about.
Yeah.
And
well, I know the I/O, they typically don't announce hardware per se, but man, it's like I would really like a new tablet and a larger tablet than my old 7. So yeah, I'm like foaming at the mouth for something new, like hardware new. So yeah.
Y'all got it bad.
I got it bad, Ann. I got it bad.
No, but the truth is, sounds boring as hell. I don't hear anything that I much care about.
No, it was a lot of stuff that you can already do now. It's just some enhancements in there.
One of the things I was interested actually was like they're trying to implement a method where you can use some Android apps in Chrome, like if you have a Chromebook. Like I know Ant and I have a Chromebook, for example, and I think that would be kind of cool to have like a little section, like pull up essentially a window that's an Android app in there. That would kind of help the ecosystem as far as Chrome OS having more local apps, and especially considering how many apps are available on Android. So that I've been looking forward to, and this is kind of cool in that they actually announced something about it. We've been speculating for like 2 years since Sundar Pichai became the head as opposed to Andy Rubin of Android. What's going to happen? Is there going to be some sort of merger of Android and Chrome OS? So here at least they're saying, well, we're going to try to run some Android apps on Chrome. So that's at least something that they've said.
I think the biggest thing on that was the ability to edit Microsoft Office files inside of a Chromebook.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
You get that, and Mr. Rothman, I'm sure you deal with this a lot. Someone sends over a .docx file, and you happen to pull it up in Google Docs. You don't get the same functionality. You end up having to download it as a Google Doc, edit it, fix it, and then save it back.
And have them be able to read it.
Yeah, it was a little cumbersome,
It's very cumbersome, and you can start with a doc, translate it to the Google formats, work on it, but you can't ever really get it back just like it was to the original format, at least in my experience. I'm going to wait and see what that Google direct editing Microsoft Docs looks like, or how it works, really.
All right.
Microsoft is apparently poised to release its web-based and app-based tools for Office on Android, and I've got to think that would be the premier way to go.
Mike, have you tried the iPad versions?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Not an iPad owner, user, wannabe.
Now, wasn't Microsoft supposed to, or rumored to announce an Android phone today, or is that tomorrow? Or you guys hear anything about that?
Nokia.
I don't know about Nokia. I know, for example, has a Nokia X2.
Oh, Nokia. I'm sorry, not Microsoft.
Yeah. Well, now it's pretty much the same thing with phones, but yeah. Apparently, a new version of the Android phone that they announced a few months ago, but it's not much of an improvement in terms of hardware. I mean, it's still like a 480p screen, and it's like a 4.3-inch screen, and it's not cutting-edge hardware. It's like a dual-core, like slower, processor. So I don't know. Yeah, that's one of the things that they have on the table that I know of.
Oh man, so it's still not going to get out of the hole, basically.
Yeah, not like this at least. I mean, they're trying to make phones for developing countries, but I mean, there's some of us that aren't developing countries. We'd like a high-end Nokia smartphone, but we'll see how it goes.
There's more of them, man.
Now, one of the things that was interesting today to me was this new Android One initiative, which appears to be aimed at delivering low-cost, mass-produced Android-based phones to exactly that population of third-world phone users. And if they're successful, and if they've got a good adoption by manufacturers, that could be a great way for them to extend their Android penetration.
Do you think having something like that Moto G was a precursor to this project?
Yeah, I suppose all of this has been building. They probably were working on this Android One set of services in connection with their Motorola holdings while they held it.
Yeah. Plus, they've been trying to make the Android operating system run a little bit better on lower end hardware, like KitKat. They're supposed to be able to run it pretty decently on a phone with half a gig of RAM. So that's pretty good. A lot of these smartphones will have maybe 1 gig of RAM if they're lucky, or usually half a gig. So yeah.
My question to you guys is, they talked about this being unified and being able to work with the OEMs to pretty much do things in a Nexus way kind of thing, and have Google have control over things getting updated and when Google is ready and not necessarily when the carrier is ready. Why can't this translate over to the rest of the phones? Why do I still have to hope and pray that Verizon is going to allow an update to come through this phone?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, and by the way, that prayer is going to be mostly unanswered. Yeah, like, do not hold your breath.
Is that the last piece of the puzzle for them? Is nailing down some sort of carrier type of thing so that they aren't beholden to them anymore?
I don't know, man. I hope so. I hope that's going to be the answer.
Yeah, I know a lot of what they've done is move a lot of their services into apps that you can just download from the Google Play Store, but those core operating system updates, particularly like for security and bug fixes, you shouldn't have to wait a year or two, or maybe never, to get those, so, and carriers don't care as much as, someone like, a company like Google or whatever, in terms of producing, getting that operating system out to everyone, so, yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny, and I'm just paraphrasing Sundar Pichai, where he says that, all right, we're going to put these different OEMs together, and we're going to tell them they can only put minimum crapware on our phones, minimum functional crapware on our phones, I mean, so Google sees what's been out there from the folks of like Samsung and even HTC to a sense with the skin,
Yeah, back to what you said about Android. What's the difference between Android and Android One phone?
I think it's like an initiative to sort of develop a phone of a certain standard, and you get pretty much the Android operating system at a certain level that'll always allow it to update over time, maybe directly from Google instead of through the carrier. I don't really understand it myself, but that's what I interpreted it as.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. That's my understanding of it.
Basically bypassing the carriers, so you don't have to wait for Verizon or maybe one of the MVNOs to decide that maybe you'll get an OS update, because it's less important to them, than it is to many of us. So.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Android, Google also announced unlimited Google Drive storage for $10 a month.
Now, that's only for people on Google Apps, though, the enterprise.
Yes, very important distinction. And I think what they're doing, of course, is they're going after Microsoft's announcement in the last few days of their Microsoft Office 365 subscribers getting 1 terabyte of storage per user.
Google said, I'll raise you.
Exactly. I see your 1 terabyte and I'm going unlimited.
Top that one, buddy.
Well, and they can definitely do it, right? They're storing everything else, our pictures, our music. I mean, it's documents. It's all coming there.
But isn't it nice to see that where there is competition, things actually improve?
Yeah.
So places where there is no competition, and things just get worse and worse and worse.
So true, man. So true.
We're looking at you, Microsoft.
Oh, man.
The interesting thing about competition, Microsoft, just going to go off on a wild tangent, like, Microsoft, they were hell-bent on doing their own thing with the Xbox last year, and they're going to do all these things, and they ended up being extremely unpopular, and then Sony took off with their PlayStation 4, and then you saw over a matter of months Microsoft do, the 180, and that's due to competition. They're seeing that the public wants this over here, they're providing this, so now they're going to try to provide more of this over here. So I think that's kind of cool that even Microsoft, this monolithic giant that tends to just move in one direction and you're either with them or against them, you know, that they're actually willing to look at what the competitors are doing and adjust accordingly. Even if they're not going as far as their competitors, at least they're doing something different, which is something they probably wouldn't have done a few years ago.
Yeah,
it's true. They're listening to complaints about Windows 8 too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm running 8.1, which is something I never thought I would do after 8 came out. You know, the whole Metro, modern UI, and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm never going back to Windows again if I can help it. And then I actually listened, and over the course of a year, changed course with that. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, you guys hear about the whole Aereo debacle?
Yeah.
Where are my taps?
Yeah.
I'm warning.
Is it over for them? What happened?
The Supreme Court killed them. Said they're violating copyright. They're not just some sort of an antenna running delivery service, but they're a provider of copyrighted content.
Is that what you predicted? So I think I recall one of you guys saying that would happen once it got escalated to the Supreme.
Well, it may have been me because I've been writing a few blog posts, including one today. No, my big complaint or my original problem was I didn't think they were even doing what they were saying. It just sounded technologically impossible. But that isn't the grounds on which there was in the original trial there was experts on both sides saying you know, the experts for Aereo said, oh yeah, these are actually independent little dime-sized antennas, and the experts for the TV station said no way, it's really one big antenna, and you just set up a big antenna and it's not individual by individual. But this decision didn't even look at that. They just said, hey, you guys are distributing copywritten material, and that's no good. Goodbye.
I guess, are they considering a service, that they're providing a service, and therefore that service is...
Exactly.
You know,
now,
that's
the thing that you guys think, maybe, I don't know if I'm being too simple-minded, but it seems to me one thing that they've done. Well, first of all, if those dime-sized antennas really work, I want one.
Are you skeptical? They don't, right?
No, I think maybe they are working as long as you've got the antenna array within 10 feet of the broadcast tower. I mean, anyhow. But forgetting
they have
that,
power or something. Anyways, I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, but forgetting that, they have demonstrated that, and I'm not surprised. I would be one. There's a demand for that service of streaming local TV.
You're right.
And so why don't the damn TV stations start doing it now and charging a couple bucks? And they run it. They have commercials in them and everything.
Why don't they let Aereo do it?
Or why doesn't Aereo go into the business of doing it for them? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there something wrong with? I don't understand why somebody doesn't take that next step now.
Broadcast television. Listen to me. I'm begging you.
Please
do this.
Read my blog post today.
Yes. Broadcast television, we beg of you to read Larry Press's blog post.
Yes. And it's going to be on AUD next. Check it out.
I don't know, dude.
Aereo is toast.
I don't know, dude. I'm sort of happy with coming into this hotel today and turning the television on. You know, it's just white noise, and then I look up and I saw a commercial, and it surprised me because I'd never seen said commercial. You know, and I had to think back. When was the last time I saw a commercial?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of like the idea that I don't remember the last time I saw a commercial.
Oh, I'm with you. I hate commercials now. That's one thing that cord cutting has done. It's spoiled us for watching.
It definitely makes you see like how blatant it is. Like when you grow up with it, it slowly over time builds up to be this crazy thing that when you dip out for 10 years and then come back in and see one, you're like, wow, that is just blatant brainwashing. Like you just
like running
what to do. Yeah.
It's really like gross.
And it's so interesting, whatever the hell you're watching.
It's eerie, man.
Yeah, it's like running into a wall. Like I'll go out into the living room because we only have one TV. We do have cable, but we really only have one TV now that's even running it. And my wife, she just leaves it on all the time, and she's still desensitized to it and used to it. But I'll run out there, and like a deer in headlights when I see a commercial, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen these, and what in the world is this? So yeah, it's a unique experience as a practical cord cutter to see commercials. It's like,
yeah, and it just totally breaks the spell. I mean, it's just like, geez, give me a break. And you're right, man. You didn't have any idea how crappy they were until you didn't see them for a while.
Until you walked away from them.
Yeah.
So long, Aereo. It was fun
So are
while
we
it
gonna
lasted.
Are we gonna see advertising on all of these little screens that that Google's so excited about unifying?
Yeah,
You
but
know
old
you
guys
will.
like Mike and I won't be able to read it, so it's okay.
You know you will.
When it's on your retina, you'll be reading it.
There you go. When it's jacked in.
You'll be like, I want McDonald's all of a sudden. That's weird. I've never eaten McDonald's. It won't even be a visual thing. It'll just be straight into your synopsis. It'll be like ad there, and you'll just go do something that they
I can smell the McNuggets now.
Yeah, right? It'll be like that. It'll be like, pizza. Like, wow, I am craving some
Or
pizza.
better than that, you'll have a display embedded in your forehead, and you can turn on commercials for other people to see.
Yeah.
If you turn on enough commercials, you get a free hamburger at McDonald's. Shit.
Sorry, sir. You are under your commercial budget. We need to fix that.
Yeah, really. One free hamburger, walk around with our logo on your forehead for 2 hours.
You haven't seen enough commercials today to power your smartphone shutting down.
Yeah, really. Oh, man.
So what else? What else was interesting?
Anybody know about or care about Android Auto? Android's car.
Just because I got a new car, well, like a used car, but I have a car now, and I have this Bluetooth deck in it, not a CD, nothing. It's just a Bluetooth, right? And it's kind of buggy. I'll give it is kind of buggy. So if there was something that was under like $800, because some of these head units are really expensive, right? I don't want to pay that much. Something that'll work with my phone that is just, Google Music, Beyond Pod, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would be totally into it. But if you don't drive or anything like that, like you probably wouldn't really care, right?
Personally, I'm waiting on, like I said earlier today, I'm waiting on BlackBerry to go ahead and release one too and put it in the next Ford Escort.
Are you making jokes? I can't tell.
I mean, seriously, everybody's doing this.
And I'm sure there's medication for that.
I mean, everybody's doing this, man. The interface is nice, it's smooth and clean. It's just like what you're used to from an Android perspective, as well as Apple's version in the car. It's clean and simple, with just like iOS. It's you sort of expect this stuff to come out, So it didn't really excite me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't wait till like car stereos start to implement this. Not just like you buy a brand new 2014, $20,000 car and you get this feature. I'd like to see just your average car be able to get these kind of, double din or whatever car stereos you install in your car, and now you can use it with your smartphone or your tablet or whatever. So I would love to have something like that. So go on, Matt.
I was just going to say something aftermarket that we can all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the rest of us,
I mean, it's almost smart that like everybody has a phone, right? Everybody has their music collection either in the cloud or on their device or tablet or something. Like you should be able to have something that no matter what device you have, it will move and slide and attach, and you just use your phone. You have to buy a dock anyway to set your phone in the damn car. The deck might as well hold on to it for you. Like a little arm, little pincers that just hold your phone. And then it powers stuff. It'd be perfect.
You know what strikes me about today's event? There was nothing really innovative. I mean, Android Auto. Okay, well, yeah, I get it. Apple came out with its Auto iOS a while ago, and Microsoft has it, so Android has to have it.
Yep.
And unlimited cloud storage, big whoop. Now we're going to get 3D icons that are going to be rounded instead of square, or is it square instead of rounded? I don't know.
Ooh.
where is the interesting innovation in all of this?
What did they give away? I probably missed it when you guys talked about it. What was the big surprise toys for everyone? Was it watches?
It was the watches. They were not able to get the Moto 360 because it's not available yet, but the folks that attended will get said Moto 360.
Oh, that's cool. I heard that was.
And he also gave out cardboard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's all they got?
No. Well, yeah, they got those 2 watches, and they gave out this cardboard box thing or whatever. It was sort of a joke, but there's an actual app called Cardboard, and it's for virtual reality on your mobile phone. I played with it for a good 2 minutes or so.
Whoa.
I think it's worth a look though. Basically, they're just trying to say, hey, this is something we really want to dive into and see what else we can bring to consumers from a virtual reality standpoint. Oculus does it, you know. And
Facebook has Oculus, so why not Google have something else?
There you go.
Cardboard. Google has cardboard.
Yeah. and it's funny because he literally, Sundar Pichai, he literally says there, you know, hey, we're going to give every last one of you guys this piece of cardboard and write your notes on it and yada yada yada. And I was like, what? Cardboard? And he said, oh yeah, and we'll give you watches too. You know.
And I'm sitting here. If I'd made the cut to get into sitting here feeling very burned about now.
Right.
You know, maybe at least, it sounds like everybody's a little disappointed in what went on today. But this is a developer thing, so maybe they'll announce some really cool stuff tomorrow to, development tools or something.
Do you guys think they just set the stage too high with previous I/Os, and there's kind of nowhere, like, once you've jumped out of a plane with glass on, I feel like maybe they started up here, whereas Apple is kind of slowly like, ooh, and then here's this and this that you've been wanting, and everyone's happy and excited, but we're like, what's going to fall out of the sky next? Expecting a spectacle, and maybe they're not, it's not.
Well, look, it wasn't innovative, but, well, I shouldn't say that. It wasn't as big on innovation as we expect, but it's nice to see that potentially my phone is going to run better because of what's being run under the hood with Android L. Better GPU and CPU work.
Yeah, the issue with Google is they're kind of ahead of the curve, where some like Apple's is sort of behind the curve. Like you're talking about, like they mentioned on stage, hey, we've had this notification shade since Android 1.0, and iOS 6 finally gets a notification shade, all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of these kinds of examples, so it's harder to impress when you've been introducing a lot of these features for the past few years that everyone's going, oh yeah, that would be good. Windows Phone, maybe we'll get no, not quite yet. Maybe we won't get notifications, but it's that kind of thing. So we're sort of spoiled because we get to see ahead of the curve, with this. So.
Or test out the curve, right? We were the ones that were testing, 2.0 or whatever, and being like, hey, it'd be cool if this did this, and now we have like active notifications and cool stuff like that. It's been iterative. It's just been iterative for longer in a more open ecosystem, right? Where we can take a more active part in it, rather than just waiting to see what Apple gives you,
Now, one thing that I heard today, which I did think was pretty interesting, is they've got over 1 billion active users each month. So each month they've got over 1 billion people that are firing up some Android or Chrome service.
That's big time, dude. That's a lot of time.
That's big time.
And again, I credit that to the whole get your Moto X for free.
Yeah.
I also credit that to the fact that it's a phone, and a phone is something everybody uses every day. So if you did it once, I bet those same billion tomorrow are probably going to do the same thing, because we're all hooked on these devices.
To their credit, I'm sorry, go ahead, Larry.
For those billion, there's how many? 3, I don't know adults, but 3 other billion that don't have them. And that's what you guys were talking about before. And just one of the things I put in the thing, Google is really they're really going on a long-range strategy of connecting those people. I think they've got now they've got extraterrestrial investments at higher altitude platforms, low Earth orbit satellites, and geostationary satellites.
True.
Geosynchronous satellites.
Okay.
So they've got their eye on that deal too, you know?
Yeah, that's part of the Android One experiment they're trying to do as well. Is they're trying to push these low-end smartphones to the next billion people. So yeah.
And you know, today's low-end smartphone is gonna, you know, today's $50, $75 smartphone is gonna, you know, tomorrow's is gonna be like today's $600 smartphone.
Yeah.
You know, so that'll happen too. And it's a matter of getting those guys connected up. And Google's, you know, I think they're interested in that. At least they're taking a shot at it. They've invested a lot in things that aren't on the Earth in the last couple of months.
I think it was Paul Thurrott on Twitter. You know, he's a Microsoft guy. He says, "This is how Skynet starts, folks."
Literally.
Taking over the world.
Yeah.
Once they flip that switch that makes it aware of all of the neat stuff it has access to, that's when it starts, for sure.
You know, I
Not
wonder.
right now, though, because check this out. My Nexus 10, right? First gen Nexus 10 just got the 444 update. First time, unplugged it, sure. Tried turning it on. Sorry. Sleep is dead. That's fine. I'll reboot it. I'm not that worried about Skynet at the moment, we'll say. I'm more worried about some of these satellites, like force closing and then falling out of the sky.
Definitely.
Hey, would somebody give me a quick update on what 444 does as an operating system update?
I thought it was just a lot of bug fixes and more better use of your battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, Droid Life, they're saying on their Nexus 4, they got it updated, nothing new in particular. So just a bunch of bug fixes. According to Sprint, nothing but a security fix. And yeah. So I think it was, 443 that had a couple slight changes. But again, nothing that noticeable. Not for me, at least.
Yeah.
I only have it on the Nexus 10, though. But I think the Moto X is still 442.
I believe my 7 updated to 444. I believe it did.
Yeah, my OG Nexus 7 is 443 and my Nexus 4 is 444. So that's where I'm at there. So I'm waiting any day for my Nexus 7 to get it mobile on. So.
Damn, I got it before you did?
Yep. Well, you got the newer Nexus, right? Or do you have the older one?
No, I have the original.
The original. Okay, yeah, I'm still waiting. Come on, baby. Any day now.
Yeah. Well,
You can do it.
I think you can. I think you can.
Alright.
Anything else interesting? Did you guys talk about Verizon turning the LTE back on for Chromebook Pixel users? Did you guys mention that?
No, I didn't know anything about that.
Oh, yeah. So remember everyone that had a Pixel that they got, Verizon gave them like, what was it, 100 megs
Yeah.
of monthly mobile data that you just get, right, for what, 2 years, I think?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I guess some of them were complaining that, like, after a year, their free data got shut off.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they got that all fixed, I guess.
Yeah, some of them they would call Verizon support and they'd be like, "What? We don't know what you're talking about." So that was also an issue. You know, they didn't even know they had that feature. So yeah.
Shady.
So you'll get it back if you don't have it. I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, what else? Anything else from I/O? You guys kind of covered that at the beginning.
I got nothing for I/O. I put a few things in the rundown. For example, Cuba started cracking down on Wi-Fi networks.
Wow.
It turns out I did a post on it and then got in touch with some people in Cuba. There are kind of Wi-Fi networks, with outdoor antennas. Again, these are local area things and they're not connected to the internet. But they're springing up. I'm told by people that all the major cities and even the medium-sized cities in Cuba are having them now. And so the government recently just arbitrarily picked a couple of them and closed them down, just to be nasty and to let the people know they're watching them. So there's still evil in the world.
That's poop.
That's brutal. What else?
Jeez, man.
But yeah, did you guys hear? A number of companies have done it, but what's the not Coursera? What's the other one? Not Coursera.
Udacity?
Udacity, yeah. They're offering. They've announced in conjunction with AT&T as a kind of helping finance it. What they're going to call nano degrees, and the idea is you go to school online for a year at about $200 a month, and you get this certified. You get certification, you get other online help, and that's supposedly pointing toward an entry-level job. And that to me, if you look at the post I did or those figures I put in the rundown, universities are doing a really crappy job of training people for entry-level jobs. More and more people are graduating with huge amounts of debt and then going to work at Starbucks.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that maybe this is the start of a trend. Like when I was starting out, or companies gave entry-level training. And that disappeared, and it got handed off to the universities. And the universities aren't doing a very good job. So maybe it's back to companies.
This is structured under a monthly payment and not necessarily under going through like your loans.
$200 a month. The details are hazy. AT&T is underwriting at least part of the development of it. AT&T also underwrote the development of a master's degree in computer science. That also is on the Udacity platform. And IBM's starting to get into this game of stuff. Starbucks will give their employees tuition refunds if they complete an online degree. So it just seems, maybe not, but this might be the start of a trend of vocational training. It's going back to companies instead of universities. Just something to think about.
I don't know. I'm still a little stuck on the $200 a month rate. Maybe that does equate to an entry level position, far as risk and reward and how much money you put into it. But right now, my brain is saying, no, that's still too much money.
Too much,
still too much debt.
But if you come out of high school and you got a choice of going to college and being, who knows, the average of like $37,000 in debt or something.
Yeah.
You come out 4 years later, or you come out of high school and 1 year later, you pay $2,400, and maybe AT&T offers you a job. I'm not saying it's going to work or not going to work, but it is something that AT&T and Udacity people are trying.
Mm-hmm.
I see, I put some graphs there. I mean, the number of people getting crappy jobs out of school is going up. It just is. The universities are not doing a good job of preparing people so that they can get good entry-level jobs.
The question that I can ask there, Larry, is it because the job pool is so narrow?
What do you mean?
You got 50 people trying to get one particular job coming out of college. Somebody's going to lose that. What if that was 50 people trying to get 10 different jobs? That's way better.
Oh yeah, I'm not suggesting that this is going to solve the world's problems. I'm saying if I was a kid coming out of high school, I'd kind of think twice about it.
Right.
Or if I was the father of a kid coming out of high school, then I had to think 3 times about it. The system's broken, man. And like you say, maybe it's just we don't offer. The economy is just too down due to the last 10 years of wars and tax breaks. But anyhow, it's a thing. Like when I finished school, I went to work for IBM, and they didn't expect me to know anything about anything specific and technical. And right away, they put me in 8-week training school. And I got out of but they had every new employee, their first year, they went to 8 weeks of training 3 times, and then back into the field, alternated. And so, they didn't care if you were an English major in college. They didn't care what you were.
The college just made you teachable in a shorter period of time for their training, right?
Yeah. What they did, they would give you interviews. They would give you an aptitude test, like a programmer's aptitude test. But basically, they figure, okay, this guy got through college. His grades were okay, whatever. So he's got the ability to learn things. And he's kind of ambitious and disciplined. So what the hell, we'll teach him the specifics of our company and the specifics of the job we want him to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it used to be. Of course, if you go way back, it used to be you'd be an apprentice to a master, or your father would teach you a trade. But it doesn't have to be universities that teach people their vocational training. So maybe this online education, the technology has changed a lot in the last years, and so maybe it's going to swing back toward corporations and online stuff.
Yeah, or maybe people are just getting dumb and they're not teachable and capable of doing anything worthwhile or productive.
I doubt that, my man. Yeah, these kids today, goddamn kids don't know nothing.
Right? Not the kids today that I'm worried about. All right, well, I think that's it. Thanks for being down at Google I/O. That's pretty awesome. And how long are you down there for?
I will be going home tomorrow morning.
Oh.
You only you can't get into they don't have any sessions you can get into.
Well, it's only for the people writing code.
Gotcha.
That's what's going on tomorrow. It's not
necessarily
press coverage.
But will they not stream all that too?
They stream a lot of it, if not all of it, yeah.
Yeah. Some of it won't show up. Tomorrow is also a big day because they're releasing the developer preview for Android L. That's going to be out there online tomorrow. So they have all of that stuff. They have all of that in place while they do their sessions and stuff. So pretty good timing.
Well, very exciting. You got a bunch of articles coming out on that if people want to read more?
Yep, I've already put one into as a little commentary on today's events, and I'll be writing some more tomorrow while I'm in the air, since it's going all the way across the damn country. Got plenty of time. Got plenty of time to write, so I have a few things that I'd like to discuss and share over on the new domain, and even with some of the new domain.tv little video clips here and there too.
Oh.
Very cool. And of course, links to Larry's blog and all of our other stuff. Nick, you got any videos you want to mention real quick you've been doing? I like those.
Yeah, nothing recent, but, well, not in the last few days, but I do plan on making a post-Google I/O video this Friday, so I just haven't worked out all the details, but it's going to be kind of my thoughts over it all. So, yeah, it'll be on my little channel, Nick Carroll, or Nick from Houston. So.
Good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, yeah, find us on iTunes and Stitcher, definitely, if you guys listen that way, or just subscribe to the show with your favorite podcast app. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, all that stuff. So thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Adios, guys.
Yeah.